So as we all know, the 1980s would see the slasher subgenre take over pop culture. It meant more blood, more kills, more graphic violence. Halloween 2 fell victim to those same tropes. I'm here to ask, was it a mistake? Hey, what's up everybody? Nick here, and today I want to talk to you guys about Halloween 2 from 1981. And I want to ask you a simple question. Did Halloween 2 playing into the tropes of the 1980s hurt or help the film? See, this has been an argument for years and years. John Carpenter's taken issue with it, Mustafa Akkad has taken issue with it, and even the fan base has been split on whether or not the direction Halloween 2 went was the right one. Now, this isn't a question about the brother-sister tie-in, but to first understand where horror was at this time, we need to take a look back. See, the beginning of the 1980s is really when you would see a lot of these franchises that we now know and love today be born. And by the time we got to the mid to late 80s, all you saw every other weekend at a cinema was a slasher movie. Now, I didn't grow up in this era, but my mom did, and she told me all about it. Halloween ushered in a new era of films. So many films were trying to capitalize off of that one. Look no further than Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street, April Fool's Day, you name it. But while they were trying to mimic Halloween, they were admittedly trying to do it in their own way. See, the original Halloween is largely a bloodless, slow-burn, suspenseful film. It's not one of those jump scare every 5 seconds, boobs, blood, gore, no. It's much more cerebral. It's much more methodical. It takes its time. It's like an animal stalking its prey. It stalks for a long time before it pounces. Now, these imitators wanted to recapture the magic of Halloween, but they wanted to up the ante. See, they thought that would separate them, or somehow make them superior to that film. So with that, we would start to sacrifice plot in a lot of these movies and suspense and really just replace it with a higher body count, more practical gore effects, more nudity, more people to kill. That's what these movies really wanted to do. They weren't necessarily there to scare you, they were there to gross you out. Now, that being the landscape in the 1980s, everybody involved with Halloween 2 knew they had to adapt or die. So they did. John Carpenter wrote a script that was much more violent, far less cerebral, far less psychological. Very straightforward slasher film. Add more characters, add more death scenes, and really make this a movie that fit in with the times. And a lot of people have said that that takes away from this film. Now, while that is the case with Halloween 2, there's a higher body count, there's more blood and gore, I still don't think it felt cheap. I don't feel like it was straying too far from what the original Halloween did. Over the years, I have argued many a time that Halloween 2 does have many suspenseful moments, and I attribute a lot of those to John Carpenter. Sure, there are some meandering scenes in the midway portion of this movie where it's just empty hallways in a hospital and nothing going on. I attribute some of that to Rick Rosenthal and some of that to the heroine that we were invested in, that we wanted to see survive, that we feared for her, is comatose in a hospital bed for most of the movie. I think John Carpenter kind of wrote himself into a corner with that one. While it is realistic, I think it just makes the middle of the movie drag. But that doesn't mean there isn't a lot of suspense in this movie. Now sure, John Carpenter directing a handful of scenes that I find integral to the plot of Halloween 2 definitely helps add that Carpenter flair from the original film. If you watch Halloween and Halloween 2 back to back, while they do feel like one big movie, there are some tonal shifts, and one of them is the increased gore, the increased body count. That doesn't necessarily feel like the same world we were playing in 1978. But that being the case, I still feel like it's handled a bit classier than some of these other movies. Sure, there are some kills in this movie that are going to stand out to you. A hypodermic needle, a person getting cooked in a therapy tub. These are visceral effects that are meant to shock the audience. They want to gross you out. They want to appall you while keeping in time with what was popular at the time. But I don't think it's gratuitous. I don't think it's over the top. It's not disembowelment. It's not beheading. It's not playing with intestines. That's not what is happening in Halloween 2. I also think that the higher body count in this movie makes sense. While it might seem a bit jarring compared to the original Halloween, narratively, it makes sense. If he was going to make his way to a hospital on Halloween night, you would assume that that hospital would be relatively well staffed on one of the busier nights of the year. Which does beg the question, where are all the patients? Look, Halloween is a very busy night for hospitals. The fact that there's almost nobody there still irks me to this day. But I think it makes sense. Michael would come across all of these people looking for Laurie and would kill them because that's just what Michael Myers does. So I don't think the higher body count is a problem here. And again, I don't think the gore is done distastefully. If anything, I feel like it's tame compared to some of what we saw on Friday the 13th, for example. And I think answering this question really gets to the root of why I love the Halloween franchise so much. If you guys are familiar with my ranking or my opinion on Halloween 2 over the years, you know it's never been in my top 5. It's not one of my all-time favorites in the series. It's middle of the road for me, but middle of the road in my favorite series means I love this damn movie. But even with that being the case, that just goes to show you that Halloween, even when it's just pretty good to me, is still far and away better than a lot of these franchises that were operating at the time. Because there's always class to a lot of these movies. Now sure, we're not going to talk about Halloween Resurrection, but most of them, there's class there. The character of Michael Myers truly does feel like an unstoppable force of evil. He doesn't care about anything aside from killing, indiscriminately. He doesn't need a reason. He's also not this brute beast. He really is just a man, or at least he seems like a man, but moves like a ghost. There's something about this character. And when you put that conceit with great characters and films that are mostly great on a technical level, you get something that's just higher art than a lot of the horror franchises at the time. And at the end of the day, Dino De Laurentiis got what he wanted in a slasher that was keeping up with the times and made him a lot of money, and everybody else involved got what they wanted. This was another springboard for a lot of their careers. It made them horror icons. It began with Halloween, but let's not pretend like Halloween 2 did not play a huge role in that. So to answer the question, no. I don't think it was a mistake for Halloween 2 to capitalize off of the slasher craze of the early 1980s. If anything, I think it is largely responsible for why Halloween is the franchise that it is today. And for some people, that's the bane of their existence. They wanted this to just be the one and done, and they feel every movie after the original has weakened that original, has weakened this character. I don't agree with that. And I think at the end of the day, when you have a good story, a good filmmaker, good actors, a great character in his concept, I think you can make a lot classier of a slasher film. And Halloween 2 is exactly that, a classy slasher film. It's not perfect, but it has just enough of what made the first movie so great while also capitalizing off of what was popular at the time. And it's this perfect blend of 80s horror fun, and I don't think you can go wrong with that. But the question is for you guys. Do you think Halloween 2 made a mistake? Do you think Halloween 2 should have stayed almost in lockstep with the tone of the original Halloween? Or do you think that it adapting was the right decision? Do you blame Halloween 2 for this becoming a franchise, and are you still pissed about it? Whatever the answers to those questions are, I want to hear them down below in the comments section. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this video. I want to ask you to make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I'm pulling out.